And those who are not in control of their imagination, who are moved by the wind of every little rumor, every opinion, they simply sway from side to side as you in control move them. You are the one treading in the winepress. And then in your silent moment, you are completely in control of that vivid, creative power of the universe, your imagination. And you influence all the people of the world. For all things by a law divine, in one another being mingled. I couldn't see you if you did not penetrate my brain. I couldn't hear you if you didn't penetrate it. So all things by a law divine, in one another's being mingled. The whole vast world is one. You in control of the creative power, which is your own wonderful human imagination. You can sway the entire vast world. If you can't do it, as some dictators have tried to do it, they bring in their propaganda machine. And then they try to force man into a certain shell, into a certain state. And quite often they succeed up to a point. But you, without the aid of any machine in this world, you can change the structure of your world by the control of your own wonderful human imagination. That is God. That is the Lord spoken of in Scripture. That is Jesus. Or can you imagine? Well, that is God in operation. God only acts and is in existing beings or men. But how does he act? As I imagine. I imagine anything. See now that I, even I, am he. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. And none can deliver out of my hand. I raise my hand to heaven and cry, I live forever. That's the immortal you. It cannot die. When you say I am, it cannot die. It's not confined to the little garment that you're wearing. That's a mask that you put upon yourself that you may be seen in this world of shadows. But you are not the mask that you wear. You are an immortal being, and that immortal being is God the Father, as spoken of in Scripture. But I would like you to begin to feel it is simply I am. And by that, imagination. You can sit down this very moment and begin to dream the most glorious dream in the world concerning yourself. At the moment of the dream, reason denies it. Your senses deny it. But if you dare to assume that assumption, that you are already that in its fullness, and persist in that assumption, it will harden into fact. Blake said, I met Isaiah and Ezekiel, and I dined with them last night. And I say to Isaiah, do you really believe that an assumption will harden into fact? He said, all prophets believe that it does, but today not very many are capable of an assumption of anything. They change from moment to moment. If I could dare to assume that I am what at the moment reason denies and persist in my assumption in a way that I do not know and I need not be concerned about, it will actually find the necessary means to externalize itself within my world. That I know from experience, and Scripture teaches it from beginning to end. This is the law that came after the promise. The promise came first, and that is irrevocable. No one can fail in the fulfillment of the promise. You will awaken one day as God himself, and you will know it. That is the promise. But while we are moving through this vale of tears, we have a law, and the law is the law of assumption. If I dare to believe that what I have said will come to pass, and not question it, well, go your way, it will come to pass. So you don't have to be in a palace. You don't have to be in the White House. You don't have to be in any prominent place or the Vatican. Someone in a dungeon this night is spreading the winepress. And who knows what's going to happen when she has spread the winepress. It is always happening because he waits on us just as swiftly and as indifferently when the will in us is evil as when it is good. For I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. I do all these things. I make the wheel and I create the world. I form the light. I create the darkness. As coldness in Isaiah. There's only one creative power. Don't think for one moment there are two gods, like a God and a devil. The devil is only the negation, the doubter in this world. So as you're seated here, God is seated here. And where are you going to go to find him? You could find him no place other than where you are. You'll never find him outside of yourself. Approaching you, as some people are talking about it today. I turned on the radio thinking I'm going to see the blast off to the moon. I thought I had Channel 4. So I sat back in my easy chair. Oh, I didn't know what time it was going to come on. It said maybe 10 minutes to 10. So I turned it on at quarter to. And here comes this so-called prophet. He's from Australia. And he's being questioned by someone else. And he's giving all the interpretations of the prophecy of Scripture. And I wonder, is this an insane asylum or something? And here he is giving me all these little dates. Why Israel won in 6 days the last war, rather than others, because Israel always rests on the 7th day. Of all the nonsense in the world. And he is actually, before a past, undoubtedly a large audience, maybe not last Sunday morning, because it was an important thing, the boys casting off to the moon. I thought I had Channel 4 and I had Channel 5. So I sat there waiting, maybe some weather has delayed the thing, but I thought it was 4. And after 15 minutes of this nonsense, I got up and checked, and I missed the blast off. See? Completely gone. Luckily, it was a replay, so they replayed it later, and I saw the blast off. And this goes on every Sunday morning. And then they call him an authority, and he so smiled, he so loved that. You are an authority on the Bible. Well, you never heard such nonsense in your life. Well, that is it. I'm telling you of the true God. God became as we are, that we may be as he is.